Okay, peeps, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over our buys, sells, and dividends for February 4th through the 10th. Let's get it. So first thing we want to show you guys here is that we are repositioned back into ltcn. You guys can see that we have 428 shares here at 1164. It's a little bit more pricey than we would have liked, but it was actually a good call on our part because Bitcoin is currently breaking out. And as you guys know, LTCN, or I should say Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, are oscillators to Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin goes up, they're also going to go up. As you guys can see here on these grayscale trusts, that's exactly what happened. So we're pretty much already, we literally just placed this trade and we're already in the money, which is kind of crazy, but we'll take a look at the Bitcoin chart in a minute. So we are still sitting on some cash. Basically, the reason why we're half in, half out here is because I would say it's a relatively good strategy. We're basically buying and hedging is what we're doing. If the price goes up, we have some skin in the game and we'll make still a lot of money. And if the price goes down, then we could just buy more on the cheap. But keep in mind, if we go all in right now and the price comes down and we don't have any money on the sides, then we can't buy the dip. So in order to be able to buy the dip at a discount, we would have to have some dry powder on the side. So that's the reason why it appears that we're half in, half out. Plus, we're also getting paid savings interest at the 5 or 6% rate or whatever it is right now for just having the money sitting there. So now we're going to go over to M1 Finance. Hold on a sec. Actually, so we'll go here to the transactions tab for Fidelity. You guys can see on February 6th, we did buy quite a bit, as you guys can see here, just under 5K of LTCN at 1164. That's 428 shares. And as you guys know, we sold for profit on the previous week, so we are already repositioned. Turns out that was a good call because Bitcoin is actually breaking to the upside, believe it or not. I'm actually kind of surprised, to be honest, because I thought it was going to be a distribution phase. But again, trading is a game of probabilities. Not every single time, even if the odds support a particular move, not every single time is it going to play out. So I would say some relatively good foresight on our end with the current breakout on Bitcoin. So going over here to M1 Finance, you guys can see we got all of our dividends for the previous week. It's a number of different things. We got $1.20 from UVV. This is a quarterly dividend growth stock. $14.55 from Triple QY. 5 cents from Beto. 175 from TLTW. This is the BlackRock 20-year Treasury yield ETF that they have. 37 cents from APLY, 416 from OARK, 222.33 from Tesla, 1260 from NVIDIA. So that covers the dividends here on this particular portfolio. And that total comes out to 257.01. Now, if we go over here to the trading tab, we'll do this one first. So you guys can see, wrong date. My bad, peeps. So February 15th would be the first trading day. That would have been Monday of this previous week. We repositioned back into PDI and RIV after taking profit on it. Plus the X dates were also coming up too. So, and we also bought some RA, which we'll show you guys on the account. But RIV and OP, which are kind of like sister funds or brother funds, whatever you want to call it, their ex-dividend date is on the 14th. And PIMCO Dynamic Income Fund their ex date was on the 9th. So that's already passed for this month. So you guys can see why we got in before those days. Again, this is RIV here. We bought RIV on the 8th. I actually skipped this one. So yeah, this was before the X date on PDI. So we bought $20 worth of PDI on that day. And then on the 9th, we bought another $20 worth of RIV. And I believe this was on Friday. Yes, it was. Okay, so we're actually going to go to the portfolio here and show you guys what those current positions look like. Okay, so as you guys can see, some of our positions have actually turned green. I believe OPP, PDI, and RIV all used to be red, but they are green now. Do keep in mind this was because we were out of the money, so to speak, and unrealized losses, simply because the price was significantly undervalued and we weren't buying it. So we weren't actually at a loss per se, but we just were not buying it was when it was at a discount because we were more focused on other things at the time. So some of these have finally turned green. When the bull market fully commences, the Fed's done cutting rates, all that stuff, we expect pretty much all of this to turn green. So we'll take a look at RIV here. You guys can see we are repositioned. Of course, our cost basis is a little high, but the further down it goes, the more we buy, the lower the cost basis gets. So we have 150 shares currently of this, only slightly out of the money, but our all-time gain is in the positive 20%. And then PDI is plus 10% currently. So once again, the price is slightly lower than our cost basis. We have about 79 shares of this. But again, we are in the money. So we're just going to basically rinse and repeat our strategy over time. You guys know how this works. We sell the whole thing, reposition back 90 to 95% and put the other 5 to 10% in something else that's undervalued. And then just buy back into what on a daily basis, whatever the undervalued thing is. So OPP, 142 shares, again, slightly out of the money, but since the X dates have passed for this month, we're not going to buy any more at this point. Plus the yieldmax, YMAG, and YMAX X dates are coming up roughly around that same time, and we want to pick up some of those. So slightly down out of the money, but no big deal. We have 142 shares, and we are up 16% all time on this position. So going down a little bit further here, you guys can see we're going to click on RA here. So part of the reason why the price of this thing dropped, it used to be a lot higher than this. I believe RA was somewhere around like 15 or 16 bucks, but it had a massive sell-off. That's because they came out and basically said, we're going to drop the dividends, the dividend distribution amount from 20 cents per month down to like, I think it was 12 cents per month. But we said, okay, this is a good buying opportunity because if they ever raise the dividend again, we're going to get these shares on the cheap. So that basically gives us, more income for less money and potential gains in the future. So you can see we're at 64 shares currently. I believe this total comes to somewhere around like, I want to say about 10 bucks a month. So we're not done with this position. We're just currently working on it. We are slightly out of the money, but again, the reason being is because of the massive drop from the sell-off from the distribution cut. But eventually in time, the dividends and the price appreciation will outweigh that, and we will be back in the money. So now going over to Robinhood. As you guys can see, there was massive green on Friday, so that's definitely a plus. So we'll go through these real quick. OARC, we have collected 1788 on OARC. And Tesla, if you guys haven't seen our Tesla video on why we think Tesla's about to go super bullish based on massive bullish confluence on the daily time frame, go check it out. It's on our channel. It was a recent post. But we do believe Tesla is going to go back up massively in Tesla probably for quite some time to come. So we received $20.23 from Tesla. And going down the list here, we have Apple. So Apple recently paid us $2.39. It's not a lot, but Apple, I should say, is more of kind of a slow growth play. It's not necessarily a super volatile stock. So we're not expecting the premiums to be as high here. This is Cony. We received $27.63. And as you guys can see, we have bought more of Cony. Reason being is because of Bitcoin's breakout, but not only that, the halving's coming up and Coinbase was recently testing major support. So it kind of all lines up perfectly for the price of Cony to move up. So you guys can see we bought quite a bit here. So 2 shares at 1998, 1.1 shares at 1807, and 1.01 shares at 1970. And ever since then, the price has been moving up. So triple QY, interestingly enough, with the change with the yieldmax ETFs, the the distribution dates lined up between Defiance and yieldmax on the same week. So that was actually pretty nice. So you guys can see we received 43.72 from triple QY here on the 6th. Now we'll take a look at JEPY. Here it is. So we got 29.80 from JEPY. Scrolling down a little bit further here. So we got IWMY. I believe the amount was 1776. Yep, that's correct. So 1776 from IWMY. The dividend distribution was higher this previous payout, so that was nice. So we have MRNY. We may actually end up picking up some more of this because it's looking pretty cheap compared to where we bought at this point. So 951 on MRNY. That's the Moderna stock, which I believe is a biopharmaceutical company, something along those lines. It's always good to have a little bit of diversity, in my opinion, not financial advice. So here we have Squee. You guys know that we have exposure to Squee because of the Bitcoin that they own. We're kind of really hoping they come out with a MicroStrategy one so we can buy that one because you already know they have like 200,000 Bitcoin. It's kind of really insane. We want to get exposure to that. So $3.88 from Squee. Let's keep going down the list here. So AMDY. So you guys can see we got $6 flat from AMDY, so that was definitely nice. And of course, we bought a little bit of AMDY as well. You can see that we bought 3.58 shares here on the 6th and 0.95 shares on the 9th. So with that being said, the amount that we got on Robinhood was $194.67. We'll come back to this particular portfolio here in a minute. So now we're going to take a look at Webull. So you guys can see we still have our positions on NVIDIA, Clip, OARC, and Apple. Nothing's changed here. NVIDIA is obviously in the money. We're going to wait for it to probably go to like 26.50 to sell for some profit. Preferably before the X date. We don't want to sell around the time of the X date because we don't want to miss out on the dividend payments. Thank God we didn't do that this time because we actually would have made more money with the dividends than selling for profit. So with that being said, the distributions have not showed up yet. Probably the reason being is because it takes a little bit longer on Webull for some strange reason. I don't know why. But it is also the weekend. Yesterday and today is considered the weekend. Markets are not open on the weekends. Futures open Sunday afternoon, but stocks don't open until Monday morning. So not really surprised not to see anything here. But we did the calculations of what the amounts would be between all of the positions that we have from yieldmax, and it's roughly about $206.20. Here is all of the positions we have. So 112 of NVIDIA, 84 of OARC, and 14 of Apple. You guys can go figure the numbers out for yourself just to see it's accurate if you want. So the total amount of dividends that we got this week was $657.88. That's a pretty good week, I would say. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty good. If we could do that every week, that'd be great. But adding this on top of what we made last week, we're already up over $5,000 for this month. And if we choose to take profit on the Bitcoin miner stocks, ltcn and bchg, which we're probably not going to do because they're just starting to run up, but even if we did, we would still be up like another almost $1,500. So coming back to the portfolio here on the Bitcoin miner stocks, this was the other thing I wanted to show you guys here. So HUD 8, we've kind of been slowly accumulating HUD 8, trying to get to that 100 shares so we could eventually sell a covered call on these things and potentially collect some premium for roughly around the next 6 to 12 month time frame. We wanted to get more shares, but unfortunately, it did not give us enough time. And as you guys can see, we are massively in the money now. So we're almost $1 in profit, have not sold. So we are total right now currently about 13% in the money, or about $60. And again, we have less than $500 in this position. We would need to have at this point, roughly about $820 or so or 750 to 800, somewhere in there, to have 100 shares. But you guys know us, we don't really like to buy massive amounts when it's already in the money. So taking a look at the actual buys we had here, you guys can see that we bought a lot. So we got 5.84 shares on the 5th, 5.79 shares on the 6th, 6.21 shares on the 7th, and 5.63 shares on the 8th. And as you guys can see, the current price is much higher than all of those prices. And we were telling you guys, we were saying like, hey, look, dude, the price of these Bitcoin miner stocks and Coinbase are touching major support right now. There's a possibility this thing could rip to the moon, and that's what it looks like it's doing right now. So, we tried to let you guys know that's what's going on. Whether you chose to buy or not, that's completely up to you. We're not going to suggest that, but we were letting you know that there is some major bullishness that might potentially be taking place, and it appears that's what happens. So, BTBT, you can see we're still slightly out of the money. That's fine, but we're not as out of the money as we were. We're only down about 13%. If we actually take a look at the weekly time frame, you guys can see just how much this increased. So we went from 229 on the 7th to a peak of 305 on the 9th. So that's a massive increase, y'all. That's 22%, as you can see up here. That's a massive move. And we're pretty much right back at this peak up here at $3 that we were at previously. But if it goes much higher, obviously we could be seeing much, much higher prices than this. So we bought a little bit here on the 9th. We moved from BTBT to HUT8 because we already had the dollar amount we wanted invested. And then, of course, the prices went up, as you guys know. So we're going to go now to Cypher. This is going to be the last position. So as you guys can see, we are also in the money now on Cypher. I'm not going to lie, that's a little disappointing. I was kind of hoping the prices would stay lower for longer because it was at roughly about $250 a share, and we wanted to buy much more when it was that much cheaper, but it is what it is. So we're currently 3.49% in the money. You can see the market price is above our current cost basis. And on the weekly time frame, you can see the massive move it had up, 87 cents per share, about 34.66. You can see it was down here at 250. Now we're all the way up at 338 per share. It's a huge move in 1 week. And it makes perfect sense because Bitcoin just recently broke out. So we have not purchased any recently. We stopped buying once we got to about $500 in this position, and then we just moved over to BTBT, and that's kind of how this whole thing's played out. So we have not taken any profits this week. There was no gains for us this week. We could have took some on NVIDIA, but we didn't want to because, again, the X date was around the corner. But I mean, that's okay. Not a big deal because we had a huge dividend week, as you guys can see, so we can forgo the profits for now. So before we close this video out, we're just going to show you Bitcoin real quick. So as you guys can see here, flip over to the weekly time frame so it's much more obvious. So we have this channel here. You guys can see Bitcoin has had a massive breakout of this. It has 6 hours to close above this channel. If it does, I would say that's very bullish. Of course, not getting above this 48,000 is, well, if we don't get a candle close above that, that's a little bit concerning, but we'll just get to it when we get to it. So do understand that the Bitcoin miner stocks are going to move up with the price of Bitcoin because they're directly correlated. And ltcn and bchg, which the underline is Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, which are oscillators to Bitcoin, are also going to move up with Bitcoin, as is Cony or Coinbase. So, just wanted to let you all know that since we have not posted a video in a while on ltcn and bchg or the Bitcoin miner stocks. And so anyways, this is our buy, sells, and dividends for the week. Hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.